Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
The war in the Gaza Strip has been going for almost 2 years. Now there is big news. The Israeli government has a new military plan. They want to take full control of Gaza City. This is a very important and big change in the long war. Gaza City is the largest city in the area. This news has made many governments around the world very worried. It has also started arguments inside Israel. Many people are very concerned about the hostages that Hamas is still holding in Gaza. The government made this important decision late at night on August 8, 2025. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had a security cabinet meeting in Jerusalem. The leaders talked for many hours, through the night. It was a very serious meeting with a lot of pressure. In the end, they voted. A majority of the leaders in the cabinet agreed with the plan and said yes. A short time later, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office released an official statement. The statement said that the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF, will prepare to take control of Gaza City. It also said that the army will give humanitarian aid, like food and medicine, to civilians who are outside the fighting areas. The IDF already controls a large part of Gaza. Now, the army's operations will move into the biggest city. This new plan is just the first step. Prime Minister Netanyahu has openly said what he wants to do next. His main goal is to have total military control over all of the Gaza Strip. He wants to remove Hamas completely from the area. He believes this is the only way to make Israel safe. This decision to enter Gaza City is the start of his plan to get total control. 2. The history of the war. The conflict between Israel and Gaza has a long and difficult history. To understand today's war, we must look at what happened before. For 38 years, from 1967, the Israeli military controlled the Gaza Strip. In 2005, Israel made a big decision. It removed its army and about 8,500 Israeli settlers from Gaza. Settlers are people who build their homes in an area. Israel also took down 21 settlements, which are like small towns. At that time, many people around the world hoped this action would bring peace to the area. But the years after were not peaceful. A Palestinian group called Hamas became more powerful. In 2006, Hamas won an election in Gaza. The next year, in 2007, Hamas took complete control of the area from another Palestinian group, Fatah. Since then, Hamas has governed Gaza. Israel, the United States, and other countries say Hamas is a militant group that wants to destroy Israel. This created a lot of tension. The current war started with a surprise attack on October 7, 2023. Hamas fighters crossed the border from Gaza into Israel. They attacked army bases, small farming communities called kibbutzim, and a music festival. It was a very violent day. About 1,200 people in Israel were killed. The fighters also took 251 people back to Gaza as hostages. In response, Israel's government started a military operation called Iron Swords. The main goals were to destroy Hamas and to free all the hostages. But what started as a specific operation has turned into a long 2-year war. The fighting has been intense and has not stopped. The war has had a terrible effect on Gaza. More than 61,000 Palestinians have been killed. Many of them were women and children. Thousands more people are missing, maybe under broken buildings. The fighting has destroyed most of Gaza. Homes, schools, and hospitals are rubble. The healthcare system has collapsed. Nearly all of the 2 million people in Gaza are displaced. This means they had to leave their homes. They now face terrible conditions with not enough food, water, or medicine. This long history of conflict has led to the difficult situation today. 3. The new plan for Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu's government has a new plan to end the 2-year war. This plan shows a new direction and has 5 main goals. First, the plan is to completely disarm Hamas, which means taking away all of their weapons and military power. Second, it aims to bring all of the hostages back to Israel, including those who are alive and those who have died. The third goal is the demilitarization of the entire Gaza Strip, making it a place with no army or military groups. The fourth point is that Israel will have long-term security control over the area to prevent future attacks. The final and fifth goal is to establish a new civilian government for Gaza. This government would not be Hamas or the Palestinian Authority. The most important part of this new strategy is to occupy Gaza City. Before the war started, Gaza City was the largest urban area in the territory, with a population of over 700,000 people. It is much more than just a big city. It is the political, economic, and cultural heart of Palestinian life in Gaza. It has always been a center for business, education, and social life. While Israeli forces already control large parts of the Gaza Strip, this move into its most populous city is a major escalation. The plan says the military will take control while also trying to provide aid to civilians outside the areas of fighting. This decision marks a fundamental shift in Israel's military strategy. During the war, Israeli forces often conducted raids into cities and then pulled back. This new plan is for a long-term occupation of a major city, not a short-term raid. It is the biggest military expansion since the war began. It shows that Prime Minister Netanyahu is serious about his goal of having total military control over the entire Gaza Strip. This is a complete change from Israel's policy in 2005, when it withdrew all its soldiers and settlers from Gaza. This new plan to go back and occupy Gaza's main city is a huge step that will shape the conflict for a long time. 4. Problems with the plan. Not everyone in Israel thought the new plan for Gaza City was a good idea. In fact, many important military leaders were very worried. They did not agree with the prime minister. They believed the plan was a dangerous mistake that could fail. The highest general in the army, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, told the government the plan was a bad idea. He warned that sending more soldiers into Gaza City could be a disaster for everyone. The Israeli army was already very tired. They had been fighting for almost 2 years. Their soldiers were not just in Gaza, but also on the border with Lebanon and in the West Bank. A new big fight in a city would put a great strain on these soldiers. The military leaders were also extremely worried about the hostages. They believed about 20 hostages were still alive in Gaza. A large attack on the city would put these people in terrible danger. The generals feared that a huge battle would make it impossible to rescue them. They could be killed in the fighting by accident. It was not only the current army leaders who were worried. More than 600 former security officials also spoke out against the plan. These were experienced men and women who had protected Israel for many years. They wrote a public letter to the government. In the letter, they warned that a long occupation of Gaza would be a trap for Israel. It would start a new kind of war, a fight against small groups of fighters hiding in the city. This kind of war is very difficult to win and costs a lot of money and lives. One of these former officials was a man named Doron Kempel. He was once a commander in a special army unit. He said the plan was bad news for everyone involved. He described the coming fight as a meat grinder. He meant it would be a terrible situation that would crush soldiers, hostages, and Palestinians. Fighting in a big city like Gaza is one of the most difficult things for an army to do. The streets are narrow and the buildings are close together. Hamas built many secret tunnels under the city. This makes it a perfect place for them to hide and attack. For the Israeli soldiers, every street and every building could be a trap. This kind of fighting is called urban warfare, and it is known to be very bloody. This is why many experts believed the strategy could fail. It asked the army to take a huge risk with a high cost for its soldiers and for the hostages it was trying to save. 5. People in danger. The new plan for Gaza City created great fear for many people. The families of the Israeli hostages were very worried. About 50 hostages were still in Gaza. But Israeli intelligence believed that only 20 of them were still alive. For their families, the government's plan to attack the city was terrible news. They believed more fighting was a death sentence for their loved ones. Hundreds of family members and their supporters protested in Jerusalem. They stood outside the prime minister's home. Some people chained themselves together to show their pain. One woman at the protest said, "I am tired of this government. It has ruined our life." The Hostages Families Forum, a group for the relatives, said the plan was wrong. They wanted a deal to stop the fighting and bring the hostages home safely. Recently, Hamas showed videos of some hostages. The men in the videos looked very thin and sick, like skeletons. These pictures shocked many Israelis. The videos made people feel that a deal was more important than a bigger war. The families felt the government was choosing war over the lives of the hostages. For the Palestinian people in Gaza City, the situation was already terrible. After 2 years of war, most of the city was destroyed. There were no safe places. People did not have enough food, clean water, or medicine. International aid groups said that there was famine in Gaza. Many children were very sick and hungry. Most hospitals were not working anymore. A Palestinian woman named Aya Muhammad returned to Gaza City after moving many times. She was 30 years old. She asked, "Where should we go? We have moved and felt shame enough." She said that when you have to leave your home, you lose everything. You become like a beggar, always looking for food and water. Now, with the new Israeli plan, hundreds of thousands of people in Gaza City were afraid again. They thought they would be forced to leave their homes one more time. They were tired of running, and they did not know where to go next. The news of a bigger attack made their difficult lives feel even more hopeless. 6. The world's reaction. When other countries heard about Israel's plan for Gaza City, many leaders were worried. The news created strong reactions all over the world. Most countries did not support the idea of a long-term occupation. The United Nations, UN, was one of the first groups to speak. It gave a very serious warning. UN officials said the plan was deeply alarming. They worried about the catastrophic consequences for the Palestinian people. This means they thought the result could be terrible for millions of people. A special UN expert, Francesca Albanese, said the plan showed Israel's desperation. The UN also said that forcing people to leave their homes is a violation of international law. These laws are rules for how to act in a war to protect normal people. Countries that are usually friendly with Israel also expressed concern. Australia's Foreign Affairs Minister, Penny Wong, said very clearly that Israel should not go on with the plan. She repeated that making people move from their homes forever is against the law. In the United Kingdom, a former National Security Advisor, Mark Lyle Grant, called the plan a huge military and political gamble. He believed it was risky and broke international rules. The reaction from Arab countries in the region was also negative. A leader in Jordan said that Arab nations will only support a plan that Palestinians agree with. They will not help with a plan that is forced on Gaza. Hamas also said that if any Arab soldiers came to Gaza as part of Israel's plan, they would be seen as an enemy force. This made Israel's idea for the future of Gaza very difficult. A very important country, the United States, was quiet. President Donald Trump's government did not make any official comment. They did not say if they supported the plan or not. This lack of a clear answer from Israel's main ally was significant. It left Israel more isolated as it prepared for its new military action. The world was watching, and most leaders who spoke out were sending a clear message of warning. 7. Why is this happening now? Why did Israel's leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, make this decision now, after 2 years of war? A big reason is political pressure in Israel. Netanyahu's government is a coalition, a group of different political parties working together. Some of his most important partners are ultra-nationalist parties. They believe in very strong military action and are against any deal with Hamas. These partners have threatened to leave the government if Netanyahu agrees to a deal. If they leave, his government will fall. This new plan to take Gaza City is a way for Netanyahu to keep his partners happy and stay in power. Many critics in Israel believe Netanyahu is making the war longer for his own political survival. He faces serious legal problems from before the war. Some people think that by continuing the fighting, he can shift attention away from these issues. A long war makes him seem like a strong wartime leader to his supporters. However, public opinion polls show that most Israelis want a deal to free the hostages, even if it means ending the war. This shows the deep division in the country about what to do next. The war is also causing big economic problems for Israel. Fighting a war for almost 2 years is very expensive. The government has to spend huge amounts of money on weapons and soldiers. Many people who are usually workers, teachers, or doctors have been called to serve in the army. This means they are not at their normal jobs, which hurts the country's economy. A long occupation of Gaza City would cost even more money for years to come. The social cost of the conflict is immense for everyone. The war has caused deep and lasting pain for both Israeli and Palestinian societies. Israeli society is still hurt by the terrible attack on October 7th and the crisis of the hostages. Families live with constant worry. For Palestinians, the situation is a catastrophe. They have experienced unbelievable destruction, death, and hunger. The trauma of this war will affect generations of people on both sides. 8. What happens next? This is a very important moment in the long conflict. The decision for the Israeli army to enter Gaza City is a huge change in the 2-year war. This action will be a turning point, and it will affect many people's lives for a long time to come. Israel's government has made a hard choice. One path is to continue the war. The government chose this path to try to take full control of Gaza City and remove Hamas forever. But there is another path. This path is to stop the fighting and find a peaceful solution through talking. Many people, including the families of the hostages, want the government to choose this second path. The choice between more fighting and finding peace is now at the center of everything. The human cost of this decision is very high. For the Palestinian people in Gaza, the plan is terrible news. Many have already been forced to leave their homes. They do not have enough food, water, or medicine. More fighting will bring more suffering and danger to their families. For the Israeli families of the hostages, the fear is great. They believe a big military attack is a death sentence for their loved ones. They protest and ask for a deal to bring the hostages home safely. The future has many challenges for everyone. Even top Israeli military leaders are worried. They say fighting in a large, crowded city is very dangerous for soldiers and for the hostages still alive there. The world is also very concerned. The United Nations and countries like Australia and Britain have warned Israel not to go into the city. They say the plan could break international law. It will also be very difficult to find a future government for Gaza that people can agree on. This decision will shape the future for Israelis and Palestinians for many years. What happens next is uncertain, but it will be very difficult. How can both sides start to build a better, more peaceful future?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.